Hello and welcome. We have our Wednesday night Facebook Live. We're going to jump right into it because I have a very powerful but a very brief message tonight. As many of you know, one of my favorite books, one of my favorite messages to deliver is what we call the Four Agreements. The Four Agreements has been an absolute, I'm just going to say it's been a lifesaver, not just for me personally, but for so many people who I've worked with that struggle with so many different things. So right now, tonight, I'm excited to give you a real life example. Rather than go out there and talk theoretically or give you information from books and so forth, tonight we're going to talk about real life. And I'm going to jump right into it because as many of you know, I've been doing it's been a 3-week long experiment to try to tap into and figure out what's going on in people's minds with all this chaos that's going on in our society. So let's just knock the ball right out of the park. A week ago on Saturday Night Live, for those of you that don't know, there was a comedy skit that was, we're just going to say, not well received. The comedian's name is Pete Davidson, and he was doing a skit on Saturday Night Live that what many believe to be crossed the line. And what he did was he was referencing a former Navy SEAL who was at the time a current candidate for Congress out of Texas. And the Navy SEAL, he's a former Navy SEAL named Dan Crenshaw, had an eye patch because he actually lost an eye during his third tour of duty in Afghanistan. So right from the jump, let's just put it out there. Whether you're Republican, Democrat, liberal, conservative, I don't care who you are, this is a former Navy SEAL who lost an eye while serving in the military during his third tour of duty in Afghanistan. I don't know that on any level anyone has the right to make fun of this guy. This is a person who gave his life, gave his safety, went and literally sacrificed losing an eye, comes back, he's now a civilian, he's running for Congress in Texas, and somehow it made it past whatever censors they have at Saturday Night Live that this joke got on air, and Pete referenced him saying he looks like a hitman from a porno movie. Now, at the time, everyone in the audience laughed. They enjoyed it, whatever. It immediately began to polarize our country. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is this is now over a week old. The reason I'm bringing this up is we live in a society right now where people are looking for excuses and reasons to attack, to retaliate, to be more divisive, to take the moral high ground and condescend on people. We live in a society right now where people are waiting for the opportunity to attack and take advantage. Why am I bringing this up? Because immediately after that episode aired, Congressman, actually he was a candidate at the time, Dan Crenshaw, was asked all kinds of questions. And he took the high ground. He said, you know what? We need to stop being so easily offended. Now, if anyone had the right to be offended, I'm sure you would agree with me that he did. But he didn't take that opportunity. He instead said, you know what? We need to become a better civilized society. Yeah, the joke probably wasn't in good taste, but you know what? I don't have anything to say. I'm not going to retaliate. I'm not going to, engage in this. So at the time, he simply met all of the questions during his interviews with the high road saying, I don't have anything to say. I'm not looking for an apology. This is just an example of poor taste. So I'm going to pause here and ask each of you right now, if you're listening to me, tell me if you would have had the ability, because I'm going to go out on record right now, say, I can preach the Four Agreements all I want. I can preach peace, love, and happiness. If I were candidate Dan Crenshaw, former Navy SEAL, who lost my eye during my third tour of duty in Afghanistan, and some punk was making fun of me on TV, I can't sit here and tell you with certainty that I wouldn't have taken offense to it. More importantly, that I wouldn't have had some colorful remarks. That's just me being honest and transparent. I'm pretty sure the next day, if the cameras were on me and I was being interviewed, I would have taken my opportunity to put Pete Davidson in his place. But I'm just talking about me. Please take this opportunity right now and tell me, would you have had anything to say in response, or would you honestly be able to say you could remain calm, collected, take the high road, and act the way candidate Dan Crenshaw did? I'm good with whatever your answer is. I'm just being honest, saying I'm pretty sure I wouldn't have responded anywhere near as effectively or as respectfully as he did a week ago. I know there's a little delay here, but I'd love to hear your responses. I'd love to see you text in whatever you think. Now, again, many of you are afraid to publicly communicate. I get it, but I'm being on record saying I'm pretty sure I would have retaliated, and it wouldn't have been pretty, and I would have felt completely justified in my response. Now, to take it a step further, things seemed to die out after a couple of days. It was the news of the day, on Monday and Tuesday. Fast forward to this past Saturday, a few nights ago. Pete Davidson sat on the set of Saturday Night Live and made a public apology to Congressman-elect, because he was elected into Congress, Dan Crenshaw. Made the comment saying it was in poor taste, made the comment saying, this is a war hero, lost his eye during his third tour of duty. He deserves to be respected. He deserves to be treated better. And the only thing I can say is I'm sorry. And the only good that came out of it was that, for a short period of time, everybody on the right and the left of the aisle could come to agreement that I'm a gigantic, and he had an expletive that he used. We're just going to say that I'm a big jerk. And the irony of the whole thing was, while people were watching him do his apology, who walks out onto the set but former Navy SEAL, Congressman-elect Dan Crenshaw. And that's why I changed my plans for tonight's message, because he sat there on the set of Saturday Night Live next to Pete and did what every single one of us should strive to do. He set the example for what every single one of us should be. He said, you know what? I forgive you. They joked about it. They took a few minutes. You can watch it on YouTube. It's posted all over the place. But he literally joked with them. They put a picture of Pete up. He was able to make his jokes in retaliation, and they did it all in good fun. But the reality is, I read up on it. When Dan Crenshaw received the phone call from the executive producer of Saturday Night Live, he didn't know whether or not he wanted to accept the invitation to go, because it was Veterans Day weekend. He had a lot of very important things that he wanted to do. But you know what he said? What it all came down to was there was no better platform for him as a veteran, as a former Navy SEAL, and as a human being, to show what we are supposed to do, how we are supposed to act, what we are supposed to be like when we are dealing with people who either A, think differently than us, or do something that society says should be offensive, and we should be harmed, and we should go into a tailspin, and we should retaliate, and we should riot, and all those things that we've seen for the past 3, 4, 5 years. You know what he did? He said there's no better platform for me to show unity, to show unconditional forgiveness, to shake hands and say, hey, it's over, let's move forward. And then he was given the opportunity to speak to America from that platform about what it's like to be a veteran, about what it's like to say, hey, when we come back and we're here in the States, you don't have to treat us differently, just respect us as people. And he mentioned the comment, he mentioned the term never forget. He said the best thing that you can do when you meet a veteran is thank them for serving and say, never forget. And I'm going to echo it here because it was a powerful message. He said, when you tell a veteran never forget, you're letting them know that you understand and respect their sacrifice, but more importantly, we bridge the gap. We bridge the gap between military and civilian. We bridge the gap between the people who go and fight to protect and serve our country and the people that stay back and appear sometimes to take it for granted and worse, ridicule it. So in honor of Dan Crenshaw and all the veterans and everyone who has and is currently serving our country, whether you're Republican or Democrat, I don't care. Whether you're liberal or conservative, I don't care. Whether you support war or don't, I don't care. What I'm asking you to do is think about one thing. I posted it yesterday. I'll post it again a number of times over the next couple of weeks. But we're all one race. We are the human race. I've said this on many, many of my videos. We have so many different divisive labels that are placed on us. We're born with them, and then society dumps them on us. And we fall victim to it. We fall victim to these divisive labels that cause us to look for flaws, to cause us to look for differences, that cause us to look for negatives, instead of recognizing that we're all humans. It's pretty simple. Male, female, white, black, Asian, Hispanic. I don't care what your nationality is. I don't care what your race or ethnicity is. I don't care what your gender is. I don't care if you're blue collar or white collar. I don't care if you're high education or you dropped out of high school. We're all humans. Here's the other news flash. We all have to share. We all have to share this same little, plot of dirt. So we might as well figure out how to get along. We might as well start focusing on the things that we have in common. We all might as well start focusing on the things that unify us, keep us, bring us together and keep us together, rather than the things that are designed, programmed to deliberately separate us. And in closing this message, I will give my update next week. But as you know, I'm now in week 3 of an experiment, of a sociology experiment that I've been doing with all of you. And the experiment is real simple. I had over 4,000 people in my Facebook list. And I don't call it a friends list because I wasn't really friends with everybody. There were too many people that had connected with me one time because either they saw something on my Facebook profile or I saw something on theirs. We synced, we were connected, and then we never communicated again. There are people that I can say I had friendships with or relationships with or I had connected to at various times, some in grammar school, some in high school, some in college, some in law school, some with the various companies that I've worked with, but that we did not stay in touch. We didn't keep in touch. Therefore, the last communication could have been 3, 4, 5 years or longer. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to reconnect with everybody. Whether they choose to reconnect with me is up to them. But what I used as my message was real simple. We have been dealing with in society a ridiculous, an overwhelmingly ridiculous amount of negativity. So I sent out a very, very easy, non-threatening, non-pressure message. Not selling anything, not asking people to join or buy anything, not asking people to share as far as a chain, nothing. Just, hey, do me a favor. There's an overwhelming amount of negativity that I see all day, every day on my timeline. And I would like to create a ripple of positive energy. So could you do me a favor? Just name one thing, just one thing that you see positive in the world. And the cool thing is, that I'm now through the S's. So I've got TUVWX, Y, and Z. It's been so long since I did the alphabet out loud. I feel like the people counting ballots down here in Florida. And I'll wrap that up here in the next couple of days. But the neat thing is the responses. There's been a good solid probably 700 to 1,000 that did not respond. Many of which never even saw the message, which means they're not even connected on Messenger anymore, or maybe they never were, or they just saw my message and chose not to respond. Either way, I don't care. Because here's the cool thing. I'm not selling anything. I'm not recruiting for anything. I'm not trying to promote anything. I have literally zero skin in the game. I have zero attachment to the result. I'm divorced from the results. I literally could care less what the response is, if any, because I'm not doing it with an agenda or an angle. So let's say 700 to 1,000 didn't respond. Of the 2,500 that did respond, well over 95, probably closer to 99% have been positive responses. Many people actually had to take time. When they responded back, they said, it's taken me a couple of days, some a couple of hours, but some a couple of days to come up with something positive and respond. That breaks my heart. Breaks my heart that somebody could literally not be able to pause and in a matter of a few minutes come up with a number of positive things to feel grateful for. But here's the cool thing. Those are exactly the people that I did the experiment for, because what they then responded was 2 or 3 things that they found positive that made them feel happy or gave them a sense of hope or so they saw love. And they then said, thank you for making me start looking that way. Thank you for stopping me. Because you know what? We are in a situation now in this society where people are unconsciously and programmed to seek out negative, or without realizing it, unconsciously under this veil of despair or overwhelm or fear or whatever. And you know what? That's not how we're supposed to live. That's not living, that's existing. So we're creating right now, whether you realize it or not, all of us together are creating this little ripple of positive energy that's shooting out. And so many people now, it's closer to 75, and probably because I announced this last week, so I'm going to announce it again. Probably closer to 75 people now have said to me, thank you, I'm going to do the same thing with my Facebook community. So now people that were just one in my group of friends have their own Facebook group of hundreds or thousands of other people. And they're going to do the same thing. They're going to go out there and ask each of their friends and family on their Facebook community to respond back to them with just one positive thing that they see in the world. Now, again, I'm not saying that I'm changing the world, because I'm not changing the world. But what I am attempting to do, and I believe that we as a group are accomplishing it, is we are getting people to stop feeling that sense of despair or anxiety or just overwhelming fear and say, you know what? Here is what I am grateful for. So I apologize for the delay, pushing it off till next week, but because of what I just witnessed on Saturday Night Live, and I didn't watch Saturday Night Live, but it was all over the internet, that I had to talk about that tonight because I think that was a powerful message. And for those of you that are listening to me right now, we all need to take the example that Dan Crenshaw took. So again, I don't care what your political affiliation is. The fact that he's a former Navy SEAL, the fact that he lost an eye serving our country at war, whether you support war or not, is irrelevant. This is a guy that gave his own life, lost an eye, serving in our armed military, okay, in the armed forces, to come back here and be ridiculed, to be told what he was called. Look, I'm just being honest with you. It's not cool. It's not cool to do that. But what is cool is that he took this opportunity to say, here's how we all as individuals should be acting. Not being easily offended, not retaliating, not attacking, not taking, that opportunity to destroy Pete, but instead let it go. Don't respond, don't react. And then when given the opportunity and invited to come on Saturday Night Live, stepping up and making it a positive experience, making it a joke, burying the hatchet, accepting the apology and shaking hands with Pete, but more importantly, delivering his message of unity, forgiveness, and a great example of what all of us need to become if we're going to act like a civilized country, not just country, civilized humanity, get along and live the best lives that we can possibly live. So thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Please share this message with as many people as you can, because it's a powerful story. I'm grateful that I was exposed to it, and I hope that we can continue this positive energy ripple effect all over the internet and eventually affecting people in real life as well. Until next Wednesday night, this is John Costino saying thanks for watching. God bless. See you soon. Good night, everyone.